I moved to Singapore for work and never left. People often ask me why I left Australia. The answer used to be simple. Work. The answer today? Jenny. But let's not get ahead of ourselves. My name is Jake Harrison. Born and raised in Melbourne. 27 years old. A civil engineer. One day my company offered me a 3-year assignment in Singapore. Think about it. My boss said, it's one of the safest cities in the world. Amazing food. Great career opportunity. I accepted within 24 hours. I packed 2 suitcases. Said goodbye to my parents. Promised my mates I'd be back in 3 years. Little did I know. 3 years would become forever. Singapore was fast, efficient, clean. The MRT arrived almost exactly when the display said it would. People queued for everything. Coffee wasn't called coffee. It was copy.
Der wasn't der.
It was tea. And apparently, a tissue packet on a table meant someone owned the seat. The first time I moved the tissue packet, an auntie chased after me. Young man, that seat's taken. I looked around. By who? She pointed. The tissue. I apologized about 10 times. During my first week, my colleagues brought me for lunch. You'll love this. One handed me chopsticks. I smiled confidently. I've used these before. That confidence lasted exactly 6 seconds. A fishball flew across the food court. A prawn escaped. My noodles somehow became airborne. Everyone laughed. Then, a soft voice beside me said, "Hold them like this." She gently adjusted my fingers. "There. Relax your hand." I looked up. She smiled. "My name's Gianni." I blinked. "I'm sorry." She smiled again. "My Chinese name is Gianni, but most people call me Jenny."
I'm Jake.
She laughed. "I know. You're the Ang Mo who was attacked by a fishball." Jenny became my unofficial Singapore guide. She introduced me to hawker centres. Chicken rice. Laksa. Char kwari teo.
Bok kut te.
Carrot cake. Which, to my disappointment, contained absolutely no carrots. You people have strange names. Jenny laughed. We think Vegemite is strange. Fair point. One evening she asked, "So, how spicy can you eat?" I smiled confidently. "Pretty spicy." 5 minutes later, I was crying over sambal stingray. Jenny passed me a large cup of sugarcane juice. "You still alive?" "Barely." She laughed so hard she nearly dropped her drink. After a few months, something strange happened. I started understanding Singlish. One day my Australian friend called. "So, how's Singapore?" I answered. "Not bad la." Silence. He finally asked, "What did you just say?" I laughed. "I don't know. It just came out." Jenny later teased. "You've been here too long." Jenny finally invited me to meet her parents. I was nervous. She smiled. "They're nice." Your dad looked at me like an immigration officer. He looks at everyone like that. Dinner began. Her mum asked, "Jake, can you use chopsticks now?" Jenny smiled mischievously. "This is a test." I picked up a piece of tofu. Success. Then another. Success again. Her father nodded. "Not bad." Jenny whispered. "I've never been prouder." I decided to surprise Jenny. Every evening I secretly attended beginner Mandarin classes. Months later, we visited her grandmother. Her grandmother spoke very little English. I smiled nervously. "Nin hao, nai nai." Her grandmother's face lit up. "You speak Mandarin?" Jake laughed. "A little." "Yi dian dian." I am still learning. His pronunciation wasn't perfect. His grammar definitely wasn't perfect. But he tried. And that mattered. On the way home, Jenny quietly squeezed his hand. "You know, my grandmother already likes you. I think she likes laughing at my Mandarin." Jenny smiled. That too. Soon my life looked very different. I carried an umbrella everywhere. Complained when the MRT was delayed by 2 minutes. Knew the fastest interchange stations. Started saying can instead of no worries. I even had opinions about chicken rice. Jenny laughed. "You've become one of us." I still sound Australian. "You do. But you're complaining about humidity like a local." I kissed her forehead and said, "I will work at that." We laughed. 3 years passed quickly. Then came the email. Transfer back to Melbourne. Promotion included. Higher salary. Company car. Everything I'd once wanted.
He said quietly.
Jenny looked at me. What are you thinking? I don't know. You do. I do. That evening Jake walked alone around Marina Bay. He thought about Melbourne. His family. His childhood. Then, Singapore. Late-night suppers.
Au Caire Centre.
Weekend walks at gardens by the bay. Chinese New Year. Deepavali. Hari Raya. National Day fireworks. Most importantly, Jenny. He realized something. Home isn't always where you're born. Sometimes, it's where your heart quietly decides to stay. The next morning Jake walked into his boss's office. I've made my decision. So, back to Australia. Jake smiled. Actually, I'd like to stay in Singapore. His boss looked surprised. Career? Jake laughed. Life. That evening Jenny thought they were simply having dinner. At Maxwell Food Centre. Their favorite place. She looked at Jake. So, why here? He smiled. Because this is where I finally learned to use chopsticks. She laughed. And nearly injured 3 fish balls. I've improved. You have. They ordered chicken rice. Shared satay. Finished with ice cocaine. Jake looked around. Families chatting. Children laughing. Different languages filling the air. He smiled. You know, when I first arrived, I thought Singapore would simply be another chapter. Jenny quietly listened. But now, it feels like the whole book. She smiled. So, are you saying? Jake nodded.
I'm staying.
Jenny blinked. For work. For us. For everything. He reached into his bag. Not a ring. Instead, a folder. She looked confused. He placed it gently on the table. Inside were documents.
Permanent résidency information.
Long-term plans. Future housing ideas. Jenny laughed through happy tears. You planned all this? I did. I moved here for a job. But I stayed because I found a life. He took her hand. I don't just want to live in Singapore. I want to belong here. I want to celebrate Chinese New Year with your family. I want to queue for hawker food without complaining. I want to argue about which chicken rice stall is best. I want to keep learning Mandarin. I want to grow old here. With you. Together. Yi Kai. Jenny smiled. You know. Your Mandarin still needs work. Jake laughed. I know. Your chopsticks. Much better. Your Singlish. Can la. She burst into laughter. There it is. My Australian has officially become Singaporean. She leaned across the table and squeezed his hand, gave it a kiss. Welcome home. 5 years later, Jake's Australian friends came to visit. They watched him order coffee like a regular. Use chopsticks effortlessly. Chat with hawker uncles in simple Mandarin. Switch between English and a little Singlish without thinking. One of them stared. What happened to you? Jake looked around at the bustling hawker centre. At Jenny laughing while ordering dessert. At the city that had once felt unfamiliar. Then he smiled. I came here thinking I was changing countries. I didn't realize. I was finding home. He picked up his chopsticks. Perfectly. Jenny grinned. No more flying fish balls. Jake laughed. No. But every now and then, I still accidentally call chili hot sauce. Jenny shook her head. We'll keep working on you. He slipped his hand into hers, kissing her hand. And I'll happily keep learning. Because sometimes, the greatest journey isn't measured by kilometers. It's measured by the people who change your heart. And for Jake, the best decision he ever made wasn't accepting a job in Singapore. It was choosing never to leave. The end. I hope you love what we brought you. This story was created by Pearl. Please remember to subscribe and like so that we can continue to create more stories.